Alright, hey, what's going on? This is Shaan. In this video, I want to talk about a symptom that's pretty common from people who suffer from anxiety that really trips them up. And this symptom in particular, actually there's two symptoms that really set people off into a panic, and I don't use that term lightly. And these two symptoms are high blood pressure and palpitations. And by palpitations, what I really mean is your heart rate goes extremely fast and your heart rate beats extremely hard. And these two symptoms really trip people up, and it's really easy for people to convince themselves that they have some sort of heart disease or just some sort of illness when really it's anxiety. Now, before I go further, it's always good to know to get cleared from your doctor first. So make sure if you're watching this video that you've already been cleared by your doctor. And if you've already been cleared by your doctor and they've just told you it's anxiety, that's great news, and I think this video is going to help you a lot. So let's get into it. So people who are suffering from anxiety tend to deal with these two symptoms, and they tend to notice that their heart rate beats a lot faster and a lot harder. And same with their blood pressure. Their blood pressure tends to go up. Quite often you could actually see them, or you may be doing this yourself, where you're checking your heart rate constantly. Or you may even be sleeping and waking up in the middle of the night to be checking your blood pressure. I know I used to be doing that years ago. And I was constantly obsessed with my blood pressure, and I was constantly obsessed with why my heart rate was so high, and it was consistently high. And I was never really explained why. So this is what I really want to talk about in this video. So before I go further, it's important to recognize a mechanism in your body that's inherent in all of us. And this mechanism is called the fight or flight response. Now, the fight or flight response is a survival mechanism really that is used to protect us, and its only job is to keep us alive. And it's been extremely helpful thousands of years ago when when we were if we were to be attacked by a saber-toothed tiger that was 900 pounds, which means that if we were to get attacked, we would have two options. We would either run away or we would fight. And this adaptive mechanism really gears us up for that. And there was survival adaptations, there are advantages of that. Well, if you needed to run away, you could run away really fast. Or if you needed to fight, you'd have a lot of blood flow running into your muscles, and your body would just be ready to fight. You would stop getting blood flow running through your fingers in case you got hurt and you didn't want to bleed to death. These kinds of things, your body is kind of equipped and designed to deal with these kinds of threats. Now, in modern age, we don't have saber-toothed tigers, and we don't really have to deal with threats like these. But when you're dealing with anxiety, your body perceives a threat, even though there's really no threat. And that's what really trips people up. They don't really they know there's no threat, but their body is responding that there's a threat. And one of those responses are palpitations. Now, why is your heart palpitating? Why is your blood pressure high? Well, recognize that if you're in a perceived threat, your blood needs to go to your muscles naturally. It has to. And one of the best ways of doing that is by having blood flow, by having oxygen and nutrients go into your heart. And your heart rate will naturally start beating faster and harder. And so that actually allows blood flow to go in other parts of your body. And that's essentially how the fight or flight response works. Now, this throws people off because they can be doing mundane tasks. They could just be lying down and sitting up, and all of a sudden they start getting palpitations. Quite often, even if you try to work out, you may notice that when you try to work out, your heart starts palpitating. And then they start worrying, and then people start worrying that when this happens, they're afraid their heart's going to get weaker. They're afraid their heart's even going to burst. When the reality is your heart's actually very healthy. If you've already been ruled out by your doctor that your heart is fine and healthy, you don't really have to be worried about heart disease or anything like that. So one of the most important things for recovering from anxiety is to recognize that even though your heart may be beating faster and harder, and your blood pressure may be also higher, that there's actually still nothing wrong. And once you're able to recognize this, then you're able to take one step forward into your recovery from anxiety. Now, you're wondering, why is my heart beating fast? Why is my blood pressure high when there's no threat? Well, that's what anxiety is. That's why it's working against you. And what you really need to do in order for anxiety to work for you and to overcome anxiety once and for all is to recognize that this symptom in particular is actually just no more than just a general sensation. And what the real focus should be on is to overcoming the anxiety. So hopefully this was great value for you guys. If you guys want to know more, check out my link below. There's a private Facebook group where I'm putting in a bunch of content kind of explaining all the different symptoms, the physiology about it, and other things that just kind of help you on your process to overcome anxiety once and for all. So hopefully this was great, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.